In case any of you Indiana Jones fans are wondering what happened to the Holy Grail, well, there it is. Hi everybody, and welcome to Orthodoxy 101. Now today I'm going to take you on a trip behind the altar because many of you don't have a chance to see what happens back here or what is back here. Why? Because there's usually this big tall gate or a curtain or something like that called iconostasy that blocks your views. So I'm literally going to take you into the altar area today. And where I'm going to start is with the altar itself. Now, in most Orthodox churches, you're going to find that the altar like this one is made out of marble. Now, sometimes, like in the one in my first church, they were made out of wood. But normally speaking, those are typically temporary until they can get a replacement for something that is made from marble. And usually, it will be decorated in the front with some type of symbology. And sometimes that's at the discretion of the parish. In fact, you see here that we have the wreath that Jesus wore at his crucifixion, and you see then the Holy Grail. Now, in other churches, they could have the symbol of Jesus Christ, which is the he and the rho, or you could see other Christian symbols there. Now, prominently displayed on the holy table itself is what many people believe to be the Bible. And in fact, that is not correct. What we have is we have the Gospels. So the readers will read then the epistles, and then the priest or the deacon will read the Gospel. Those two together, with the exception of Revelation, will form then the Bible. But what is on the altar itself is just the Gospel. Notice that it is covered in a heavy metal, typically a gold or silver. The main reason for this is that, similar to Jewish tradition, we do not allow animal hide inside the holy area, the Iaro, here. And in fact, in many churches, like in Ethiopia, you'll see that the priests don't even wear shoes because of the leather, and they actually have slippers that they wear when they're performing the liturgy. Now, under the gospel is the antimension. Antimension means instead of the table. Every Orthodox church has this, and it has two specific purposes. The first purpose is a kind of permission slip from the bishop for the priest to conduct the liturgy in his stead. In fact, you can see his actual signature on the antimension. And the second purpose is it serves as kind of a tablecloth or a catch-all so that if any crumbs from the paten or any wine from the chalice spills, it will spill upon this antimension, which is always kept in the church. Now, behind the gospel, you'll see the artophorion, or the tabernacle. And that tabernacle takes you back to its Jewish roots. Because underneath the tabernacle here, you'll see that we have then a case or a box, which is the actual artophorion, what carries the bread. And in here will be a reserved sacrament that the priest will use when he goes to hospitals or to homes for home communion. It is not the reserved sacrament as you would think of in the Catholic Church. Now, in front of that artophorion here, the small one, what we have typically in every church, or every Orthodox church, is then the light of Christ. And so they'll typically have a candle, and normally that will be an open flame to represent that light of Christ, and that candle will remain lit on the altar at all times. Now, behind the altar, you'll see that in our church we have 6 candles. Sometimes in other churches, those will be candelabras, but typically there will be 6 candles. Now, sometimes churches will have 2 or 4. The number is not necessarily important, but typically there are anywhere between 2, 3, or 6 candles that are placed behind the altar. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is that also in every Orthodox church and every Orthodox altar, you'll see that there will be a relic of a saint, and that relic is always contained in the top of the altar. And in this particular altar, we have a relic from St. Barbara, but that can vary certainly from church to church. So thanks everybody for joining me for this, let's say, behind the screens look at the mystery of the altar. Join us again for another great video, and don't forget, subscribe, share, and like our videos on our YouTube channel.